Okay, so I was cleaning up my kitchen and I remember there was an article that I read that said that there had been an explosion in buyers and renters that have bought or rented a house sight unseen. Well, not sight unseen, but without actually setting foot in the property itself before actually committing to the purchase or renting of that property. And a lot of this is due to us as realtors getting better quality photos, doing the virtual tours with the videos, floor plans, and those 3D images and all that fun stuff, right? So I was thinking, wanted to give my position on whether or not I support that. So as a property manager, I am not a fan of allowing tenants to rent any of the properties that I manage without actually physically visiting the property. The only exception is if a family member will go on their behalf, or some sort of trusted advisor, whether it's a family member or a realtor that they know, like, and trust, because pretty much there's no do-overs. Once you sign that lease, you're locked in, you'll have to pay the penalties, etc., right? Because there's a lot more that goes into the house than just the house. Sometimes you need to get a vibe for the entire neighborhood itself. You need to get a feel for what's close by, even outside the neighborhood. Just, there's a lot of nuances that go into that. And I've seen the success and not so great ramifications of not visiting the property. So I have a lot of folks that I know that relied on their realtor to purchase a house, and they loved it, especially in Potomac Shores. It's a beautiful neighborhood. That's a win. But I've also had the other side of that. Once a buyer that was overseas, their position was relocating from overseas back to the US. And it was a husband and wife, and then they had 6 children. So they asked me, hey, do you mind, doing some virtual tours, because we can't get back to the United States in order to shop for our new home. So I was like, okay, yeah, no problem. I help military folks all the time, even though they weren't military. The wife was a teacher. So long story short, I am looking for houses that's within their budget, because I had a very tight budget. And I was like, okay, yes, I can do this, right? So I go to a 2-level single family home, very picturesque, nice size backyard, fully fenced in and all that fun stuff. They did a lot of the updates for the property. But when I went in, even though it was 4 bedrooms, I was like, it's a little small. I don't feel like it's enough space for the children and things of that nature, right? So I expressed all of that, but they still wanted to go through with it. And I was like, the square footage is not saying that this is a good purchase for you guys, but okay, what do I know? Maybe overseas they were used to living in a smaller square footage. So I went with it. Okay, so then flash forward, the husband returns before the wife. He visits the property immediately. He walks through it. Everything's fine. He's, not letting me know, none the wiser that something could be wrong, even though I recorded video. I did the virtual walkthrough with them as well. So 3 days before closing, the wife comes and she's like, this isn't it. She's so disappointed. Broke my heart. I was just like, what? So we did all this work, the home inspection and all that fun stuff, and then the wife is like, this is not the house. And I'm thinking, I said that this was the house. We're 3 days out from the closing. The wife decides this is not the house that I want to have my kids in. So I'm like, what do we do in this situation? We're literally 3 days out from closing. We've done a home inspection. We've done all of the due diligence, right? So now I have to break the news to the seller that my buyer doesn't want to actually buy. So at this time, the market was good, but not as good as it was in, 2019, 20, 21, 22, whatever. Okay, so I had to approach the seller's agent and say, hey, my client is not going to go through with the sale of the property. How does your client want to handle it? Because they could have taken legal action to force the sale and all of that good stuff. So I kind of prepared my clients for what could possibly happen, which is best case scenario, you lose your earnest money deposit. Worst case scenario, the seller can opt to take legal action and try to get more than the earnest money deposit. Okay, they were very fortunate. The seller agreed to just accept the earnest money deposit as the payment, the compensation for the lost time on the market, and then they went on to successfully sell the house to someone else. And thankfully, within a week, since they were both in the country, of course, by this time, we were able to find another house that was literally across the street, but like deeper into another neighborhood, that was 3 levels, and I want to say almost 2 times the size of that original house. So that's why I'm not a huge fan of buying a house without physically visiting, because there's a lot of nuances. You got to get a feel for that room. So that's my okay. So with that being said, I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comment section below. Would you buy a house or rent a house without physically going to visit the property? I'm interested to hear your point of view. And as always, let me know if there are any other topics that you want me to cover. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.